community version, and we can create our own applications with the database and all. So that is the theme why I choose MySQL here, because the SQL Server is as a student or for the startup, maybe it is a bit difficult to work with the SQL Server. So for go with the open source, here I has been using the MySQL DB to be as the backend. Okay. So today in this webinar, we will see what is .NET and what is .NET Framework and .NET Framework history and .NET Framework with .NET Core. So .NET Core, I will explain that. And also we will see how to use the ASP.NET Core Blazor and what is the advantage of Blazor applications. And in Blazor application, we have two type of application. One is the Blazor server application, and another one is the WebAssembly applications. So we will see what is the difference between both, and we will create a simple ASP.NET Core 6.0 and Angular, Blazor applications with working with MySQL. Okay, so first we will start with what is .NET. How many of you have been worked with the .NET over here? So can you just raise your hand? So how many are familiar with the .NET, and how many of you are very new to .NET? So I can see Nazir has been worked with .NET. Only Nazir? How about others?
No. I have been also working since 2007.
Okay, that's great. That's great to know you are working from 2007. Okay, and rest, how many of you aware about .NET and have been worked with .NET? Okay, I can see 1, 2. Okay, anyway, first I will go with the introduction. I can see 3. Okay, nice. Okay, very nice. And you all know that. So .NET is presently it is open source. Before it was not a open source, but after the .NET Core, the Microsoft made it as the open source and cross-platform development platform. So it is a platform to develop multiple applications. So using .NET, we can develop desktop applications, web application, cloud-based applications, mobile applications, gaming, IoT, and artificial intelligence kind of things, applications, all we can use developed using the .NET. Okay, so here you can see that set of applications. This is the desktop applications and web applications, and also we can create Internet of Things applications. So Internet of Things, maybe you are all aware. So we can use some kind of sensors and things to use it in our home, and also in factories. In a lot of factories, they will be using this Internet of Things. So these are all applications we can develop using the .NET platform. And also we can develop the Windows-based mobile applications and cloud applications. And there is the Unity. Using the Unity, we can create gaming applications. And also nowadays, the .NET also focusing with the machine learning and artificial intelligence. So for artificial intelligence, again, the Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services, like the vision service, languages, and speech service, and knowledge-based service, like this different kind of service was been offering by the Microsoft. And 2 years back, the Microsoft introduced the ML.NET. ML.NET is the machine learning.NET. So which has the machine learning algorithms like sentiment analysis, product recommendations, and price predictions. Like this kind of machine learning applications also we can develop using the Microsoft.NET. So again, you all aware about that framework. So .NET framework. So for .NET framework, I can compare with this image. You can see the core image. Okay, so you can, when you see this image, the core image, you can see that for the core, the main part will be like the engine. So only when the engine is good, then the core can be run smoothly. Okay, so all the functions will be starting from this engine part. Same like that for .NET, we have the engine part is called as the .NET framework. All our .NET applications will be run through this core framework only. So now example, you can see that you might be aware about that the importance about the framework. So here, when we develop any applications using the .NET, maybe we can create a Windows-based applications or web applications or whatever it may be. So if we make a Windows-based desktop applications, then we will copy only the exe and DLL file, and we will install to the client computer. So for client computer, again, we no need to have the Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the development environment where we develop our .NET applications. So we no need to have that Visual Studio in our client computers. So what we do is we just only install the framework, which will help to execute our .NET applications. So that is the main importance of the framework. And another thing is, using the framework in .NET, we can create multiple language. So like we can create a C# applications, VB.NET and FSOP.NET. Like that, we can create multiple applications. So now, example, I can also use that C# application DLL in my VB.NET applications or in the FSERP applications. So all this will be happening mainly due to the .NET framework. Okay, so same like that, if we want to install, we have created a website, and if we want to install in the main server, web server, we no need to have the Visual Studio need to be installed in our web server. We just install the framework. If we developed using the .NET framework version 4.5 or 6.0, then we will install only needed framework, which will help to execute our .NET applications. So this is the core concept of the framework. So here I am very happy to see a friend who has been working in .NET since 2007. So I started my career with .NET in 2005. So when I was in 2005, the framework is 2.0. So initially, the Microsoft introduced the framework is 1.0, and it was in 2002. So I started with 1.1 version, and now I am working with .NET 6, and also we are going to .NET 7 now. So this is the history you can see from the PPT. In 2002, Microsoft introduced the .NET Framework 1.0, and in 2005, 2.0, and in 2006, Framework 3.0. Up to the 2015, the Microsoft was been only focusing with the .NET framework .NET framework. So 2016, now the world is changing, because till the 2015 it is different, but nowadays the open source and cross platform applications are booming. So Microsoft has been focusing on that, and from 2016 .NET Microsoft introduced the .NET Core. So here you can see from the another page here. So Microsoft introduced the .NET Core in 2016. So .NET Core is the advanced version of the .NET framework. So in .NET Core is the cross-platform, because in .NET Core is the cross-platform, but framework can be used to work only with the Windows-based operating system. But using Core, we can use to install our applications in Windows, Linux, and Mac OS and everything like that. So based on this, now .NET Core has many advantages than our framework versions, and also the performance and has been mostly increased in the .NET Core versions. So nowadays we will see today example also we will see how to create Blazor applications using the .NET Core. Okay, so here before the framework we have been using the web form, MVC, and web API, but now we are using the ASP.NET Core versions. Okay, so now in the core, the Microsoft, and as the technology is improving, so our applications, what platform we are using, that also we need to be get upgraded. And as a developer and also as a lead, whatever it may be, we need to keep on update with the current trending technologies. So that is the concept of why we are using the .NET Core now. Because if we in today's world, when I started, as I told, when I started working in .NET, it was like the framework version 1.1. So at that time, initially, in 2004, we even don't have the ASP.NET or something. At that time, we had is the ASP classic applications. So we use the Notepad or some editor to create our web applications. It is similar to nowadays the working with the PHP applications, web applications. So after that, Microsoft slowly increased their uh, uh, increase the performance and developing methodology for the applications. So next, .NET introduced the ASP.NET web form. Okay, so a web form again has some drawback. So in drawback means like the performance wise, and the server side rendering, everything was being some kind of slow in that. So again, next to Microsoft introduces the ASP.NET MVC, the model view controller pattern. So model view controller pattern has some advantage than the ASP.NET web form. But still, if you want to use the ASP.NET MVC applications, we need to use some kind of performance improvement. Okay. So, and next one is the Microsoft introduced presently is the ASP.NET Core. So these are all the web platform where we can develop our web applications. But all this still the ASP.NET web form, ASP.NET MVC, and even ASP.NET Core web application. If we create, we need to use some kind of client applications. Like now we will be using the JavaScript or Ajax or jQuery. Like this, we will be using some kind of framework to make our web applications more performance improvement and also more interactive with the clients. For this purpose, we will be using some kind of applications along with our .NET applications. So now, if we develop the ASP.NET Core web applications, we will be using some other kind of applications along with the ASP.NET Core like Angular, React.js, and TypeScript. We will be adding these kind of things to improve the performance for our customers and as well as clients. So in thought of this, Microsoft has introduced the new ASP.NET Core web applications, which is we don't need to have any kind of this JavaScript, Ajax, or anything like that. So all these can be built using the ASP.NET Core web applications. And ASP.NET Core Blazor is like we will be using only the C# code. We will directly use the C# code in our front end as well as in the backend. Front end, backend, I'm talking about that applications like that client side part as well as the server side part. So both this business logic and client side HTML part, everything we can be make it in one application using this Blazor applications, where we no need to have any kind of third-party scripts or anything to be used in our web applications for the performance improvement. Okay, so this is the main core concept of Microsoft. They introduced the ASP.NET Core Blazor. They introduced the ASP.NET Core Blazor in 2018, just 4 years past now. So this 2018, when they introduced as the experimental manner. So it is not like the full production way. But nowadays they are keep on adding a lot of improvement in the Blazor applications. So I feel that Blazor is one of the very important and also very has more advantage than using other JavaScript or anything, because we work with C# means we always like to love to code with the C#. So when we allow to code with C#, we will be working only with the business logic. Now the Microsoft has given the chance to even in the front side applications, we can also directly use our C# code. So that is the main advantage. And also the Blazor applications support for the SPA full stack development, like single page applications. So another one is like we will be using otherwise the Angular or React.js for these SPA applications. But using the Blazor, we can use directly the C# code to build our applications. Okay, so the Blazor is nothing but the combination of .NET Core plus Razor component and WebAssembly plus the browser equal to the Blazor. Okay, so in Blazor, that uses two kind of applications. We can develop two kind of applications. One is the Blazor server app and another one is the Blazor WebAssembly. Okay, I will show what is the difference between the Blazor server app and the Blazor WebAssembly. So for Blazor server app, again, Microsoft uses the SignalR, which is to push the content from the client to the server like that. So here, initially we will be using the JavaScript or Ajax for doing that, but using the SignalR, Microsoft has been using that in our Blazor applications. So here you can see the difference between the Blazor server applications and the web applications. Okay, so here the WebAssembly is we can call it as the WASM, WebAssembly or WASM, so which runs in the client side, but the Blazor server application which runs in the server side. Okay, so this is the main difference which has. And another main advantage is Blazor server applications will be used to load, the performance will be more better than using the WebAssembly. Okay, so and WebAssembly is using the JavaScript interoperability to access the full functionality of the browsers. So the WASM using the JavaScript interoperability, and the Blazor server, which uses the signal to performing any kind of event or loading the HTML, UI, and whatever it may be. So the Blazor server application using the signal. Now, example, we create one button in our HTML design in our Blazor server applications. When we click the button, we are creating the event. So the event performance, when we click the button, that button click will be sent to the server, and the server, in the server some business logic will be happening, and again the data will be loaded to the client page. So these are all happening through the signal or so in our Blazor server applications. And you can see that when we create here, you can see that image, maybe it is visible, I think so. When we create Blazor WebAssembly applications, we can see only the client side part, like the Razor applications and Syed for creating the menu and all those things. But when we create the Blazor server applications, we can see the front as well as the backend, the code business logic part, like where we can use the data folder. In that, we will be having our business logic like web services, or also we can create our web API for performing our server side performance. So I will create a simple program. So before that, for working with the ASP.NET Core Blazor, we need to have, sorry, the language is in Korean. I will use this one.
Shanu, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
May I ask any question in between your lecture, or could you give me opportunity after the lecture?
I didn't get it.
Can I ask any question inside your lecture?
Yeah. Maybe they can ask the questions in the chat. I will check on that.
Can you please go to your history slide, .NET history?
Yeah, sure. I can go here.
Yeah, history. Yeah, right here. Here we can see after the .NET Core 3, Microsoft releases the next version, framework version is .NET 5. So what are the policy for renaming this? Instead of .NET Core 5, they came to .NET 5.
So you mean why they change like .NET 5?
Right. Why not .NET Core 4?
Yeah, that is what I told you, that Microsoft is making the difference. Until 4.6, they used the framework, .NET framework. So after 2016, they started with this cross-platform and open source. So that is the main purpose. They need to make that platform difference, right? So that is the thing, they have been using the .NET 5 and .NET 6 like that now. .NET 5 is started with this core kind of applications. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I understood that. But my question is, why they came into the name .NET 5 instead of .NET Core 5? Because .NET 5 contains all the functionality, features, the structure, architecture of .NET Core, right?
No. Actually, we cannot say like that, because .NET is the key name, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So .NET framework, they use the .NET framework 4.5 like that. But .NET is the key name. Maybe they can add some kind of other. Now it is core. Maybe in the .NET they can add something else also. Then again they cannot name it as .NET Core 5 and .NET Core. If example .NET Beta, example .NET Beta 6 like that, they cannot make separate names. So this is common. .NET is this is my thinking. So .NET is common. Inside that, now presently they have the core. They are using the core framework. Maybe if they future they can add something else like that. But in that one, they need the standard name. So that is the reason I think so they are using the .NET name like that.
Got it. But thank you.
Yeah, so this is my assumption, but I'm not sure about
No,
that.
it's okay.
But
It's
my
okay.
guess is like this, because if we are, as I am also a project manager, if I want to keep some name, I need to make some standard names, which should be apted for any future development as well. So that is the thing, I think so. They are named like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You understand? Thank you.
Yeah. I understood. Thank
Okay. Thank you. And good to see the questions. Okay,
you.
I will screen capture our today's session. And just a moment. Okay. Okay, so as I told, to develop the .NET, we need to download. We can download the community version. Maybe you all are aware about that. So we can
Yeah.
directly download from the Microsoft Visual Studio's website. So it is 2022. You can click and you can install to your computer. Okay, so this one. And another pre-requesting what we need is we need the MySQL. So as I told, MySQL is also the open source, so you can click the link, and also if you Google like MySQL installer, it will be downloaded. So here we will be using the MySQL as the backend, as I mentioned you. So before starting developing our applications, I will show the difference between the WebAssembly applications and so Blazor server applications. Okay, so here we create applications, new applications, and you can see from this when we create a new project, you can select Blazor server app, or you can see the screen, right?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can see
Blazor
clearly.
server app, or we can develop the Blazor WebAssembly applications. So now when we create the Blazor WebAssembly applications, we can say it as it is like the client part application development. You can use, we can think in that way. Here we can see the pages and SAD, things like that. So we can develop the client side part all over here. Apart from that, we need to add one more project like web API project or something to build our business logic and to database connections, all kind of things. We need to add one more project like that. So for this, the performance is, as I told, it is a little bit slower than our Blazor server applications. Whereas in Blazor server, when we create a Blazor server applications, here you can see that we create a Blazor server applications, and we can give the solution name, and we can see that .NET 6.0. Okay, so here it is not mentioned as .NET Core 6.0, something like that. It is .NET 6.0. It is standard. So we can create a project over here. So when we create a project, we can see that as it has the same structure like our WebAssembly, but it has one more folder called the data folder, where we can create our business logic and database connections and all those kind of things in these applications. So first what we do is we create a project now. So once when we install the MySQL, you can find the MySQL workbench. So it is the same like our SQL server, where we use the query analyzer. We can create our table, we can create stored procedure functions, everything using this MySQL workbench. So here I have already created the database as customer, and also I created a table like a customer master. So here I have created columns with the cust code, cust name, email, phone number, and address. And also I have created the store procedure here. Okay, so in this procedure, I will select the data, and here I am using the in conditions same like the like command to get the username having like custom name having like empty, or to search with some kind of keyword, and also to search with the email. So I have also created this procedure with two parameters, one for to search the data with the customer name, and to search the data with the email. So I have already created a project. I will just run, and I will show you how this will be working. Later we will create a project to work with this one. So here I created a project like the customer details. So already it is fetching the data from the database, and we bind the result in our table. Okay, so now if you want to search, I give something. If I search, we can see that data is not there. If I give like A and click search, it will find the customer name with starting from A, because it has that A functions here. So now here, if I see give like a B example, it will search the data and it will be showing in that. You can see that the performance here, it is very, very fast. Okay, even the search, it is very, very fast. The same thing if we use in the ASP.NET web form or in the MVC, we will be using some kind of JavaScript or Ajax, something to bind like this. But here it is very, very fast. Here we didn't use any JavaScript or Ajax or Angular, anything like that, which is purely based, developed based with the C# program, which is in our front end also. Okay, we will see how to develop this. So for that, first we create, we need to give the database connections. So I already have, I will show that. In the app setting, first we give the database connection, MySQL connection over here. Okay, so here I give the connection as local host. Okay, if you are in the network, then you can give that your MySQL IP address where it is hosted, machine IP address. You can give that, and you can give the user ID and password to connect to the database MySQL. Okay, and then next thing what we do is we open the program. Before that, we create a folder called models. Okay, we add here because we will add the models for adding this details, column details, okay, to be bind in our Blazor applications. And also we create one more class called MySQL class to bind the data, to connect the database. So before that, what we do is we need to install the package, NuGet package, to work with our MySQL. For that, we select browse and we go to that MySQL connector. Okay, so we go to the MySQL connector and we can install this connector is to connect the for working with the MySQL. We for SQL server we will be using the SQL client for connecting to the database and we to perform that uh, bind the data and to perform the insert and crude part of things. So
Yes.
here we use the MySQL connector to the same kind of things which we will be doing in our SQL client. So we install this and then we create a folder here as models folder. Uh, okay, so I create a folder here, models, and then we will creating the as name as cust master. As I already made it, I will just copy paste and I will create it. We add a new item here and we create a C# class file and we give the name as cust master. So here we create the model. So model we will be giving the same as our field name, our column field name. So here again we can see that. So these are all the columns which we have been created in our MySQL. So same cost, we give it the same similar name here to fetch and bind the data with this model. Okay, and then we create one more class for MySQL connections. So here we keep the name as MySQL helper and we create one more class. I will explain this. We create with the MySQL helper class and here I will explain this one. Okay, so here I have created with the connection string as static variable because we from the our we have been given our connection string in our app setting. So we need to store this app setting connection string to some variable. So in this class, I declared the variable as connection string. So when we do this here, we can see that error in MySQL connector. For that, we need to import the SQL connector, which we downloaded and installed using the NuGet package. So now we can see that our connection class is ready now. So next what we do is we open the program and we need to get the app setting data connection string to our local variable. So for that, here we can use this one. We open this. And here you can see that our class is MySQL helper class which we created. So for that, we need to be import this model folder. Inside the model folder, we have created the class, and for we are storing, we get the data from the app setting of our connection string, and we store it in this local variable. Okay, so that this class, this connection string, we can use it in our MySQL to connect that. And next one, what we do is we create a service class. Okay, so here we create this service class to get the data from the MySQL database and bind the result and send that result to our front-end applications to make it. So for that, here I create one more class like cust connections. So we add one more layer here. Instead directly adding our get working with the database. Here what I do is I add one more class as cust connections here. In this class, we will do our business logic for to working with the database. Okay, so these connections, I will explain this class as well. So again, you can see that as cust master is the model which we created. So we need to import that model folder, and also MySQL. Again, we need to import the MySQL. So you can see that now the coding is very simple. We don't need to type here something like that. So and again, we need to import this one. Okay. So in this class, what I do is I create a get cust details function, and here I pass two parameter as customer name and email. So in our procedure, we have two parameter to search the data with the customer name and by email, and return the results with the search result. Okay, and we created the class as model class as cust master. We create a list, and here we created the class for connection checking. So this one, first we will be checking the connection, and we will open the connection, MySQL connection. And here we give our store procedure name in MySQL command. Hope you know you all worked with the SQL, so it is similar one. We give the store procedure name, and we pad the parameters as cust name and email, and we pass the data cust name and email over here in the value, and then we create the reader, data reader, and we read the data from the database, and we bind the results to our list, and finally we return the list. So now this backend business logic for this one, we created a separate class as cust connections. And next what we need is we need to create a service class. So we create a service class to call this function, and we bind the results in our service class. So we will be using this service class in our Blazor applications to bind our data in our HTML. Okay. So for the service class creating, again, we create one more class file name as cust master detail service. You can give any name for this. So just I make it like this way. So we add one more class file here, and here we will give the name as cust master detail service. And here what we do is I will just add a method and to get the data from our this cust connection data. Okay, so this one we create an object and we create a method. Okay, so here you can see again we need to import the two things, models. Okay, so as the cust master is our model class name, we bind the results to cust master model, and here we call the our created get cust user details, where we perform our database business logic, and we return the data to as array, and we return these results to our Blazor applications. So now another thing what we need to do is we have created the service. We need to add this service in our program to get work on that. Okay, so here is our cust master detail service. So we add the service. So up to now our business logic of our server side applications was been done. So what we do is next is to work with the client side. So client side we will be using the Blazor applications. So for that we need to create a razor page, Okay, so I have already created that. We will do the same one. So you can see the pages folder here. Okay, in this page we can see some sample pages as well. So we will add the razor page. So we can make it as empty. So it's need to be as the razor component. So here we give the customer.razor and we click add. So our page is ready now. So here we will write the code for both the client as well as the business logic part. So here first we can see that this HTML page, this is the HTML page where we have three part of things. So first one is the header part. Here we give that name is our razor page name, which is customer we have been given. And next one is the models, okay, and data. And we inject the customer details, the service class we created. We inject the service class over here, and then we added our HTML part. In HTML part, what we do is we as I saw it in the example. So this is our example which we developed already. We have the search part and also the table to bind the result, the search part and the bind the result. So in search part design over here we can see that this is for the table for the search part. Here I have added the text field and also the button. So in text field, what I do is the bind value is to get and set the data from the server side code. So here we declare the bind value as cust name and email. So for this here, you can see the code part in the same HTML page. We can also write the code part. So here we can purely write our C# code. Okay. So here I declare two variables as cust name and email. So these names we will be binding for the using for the bind value. And also we have the button. In the button we create the on click event and we call the method as search details. So this one here in this code part we declare the customer master, which one we have been imported here. Okay, but in Angular applications, if you have been worked with Angular, then we will be creating separate model in Angular applications, and we will be using that model. We use the export model class. We will create a separate model class in Angular applications and as well as in our web API applications. So these one two need to be we need to be created. But in Blazor, we know that to create like that. In Blazor, we can directly use our C# model class. So here we have been imported the model folder and we can directly declare like this and we can use that one. Okay. And this on initialized async is like page loader function. When the page is first time loading, we call the our service get cust details method and we bind the results to this customer details, which is we declared as the object over here. Okay, so same that one, we created one more function. So when the button click, I call this function to bind the result here to display in our table. So in the table, in the same page, this is for the search part. In the same page, I will check first whether the object is empty or not. If it is empty, then we will message as loading, the page is loading or the data is loading like that. If the data is there, it will come to the else part. And inside this table, we use the for each to bind our customer code, name, email, phone number, address in our table. Okay, so this is what we do. And next one, what we do is we need to add the navigation menu here. So in the left side, we will be having the menu, right? So for that, this menu is already created. Now we have added the new cust master. So for that, we will again add like this. Okay, we can do. We give like customer details. Okay. So this is our newly created application now. We will see what it is happening. Okay, good. Okay, I'm not sure why it is not working. I need to check that one. So this is the way we will be using. So we will add the service in our program.cs file, and we can use the inject to bind it in our Blazor applications. So when we do that, so the applications will be run like this, and we can use the search functionality and all other things like that. So I hope you can understand what we have been done. So you have any questions, you can ask it now. So you can ask for questions now. And here you can see this is my, you can also download these applications which I have been posted in code project. So you can download the source code from this link. So you can also follow me in CSUP Corner and code project. I'll be publishing several articles over here. And also you can follow me in Twitter, LinkedIn, and mail also here. So now we can go for the Q&A. If you have any questions, you can start asking your questions over here now. Yes.
Shanu, basically, what are the special facilities for the Razor view?
What is that?
Or what are the special facilities for the Razor view instead of Angular or like something other front-end application?
See, as I told that again, if you want to work with Angular, you need to have these ASP.NET Core or MVC applications. But if you go with the Blazor, we no need to have this Angular or React or anything like that. We can directly use the create the single page applications using our directly Blazor and with the Razor component. Okay, so this is the main advantage. So why we are going for Angular or React or other applications means mostly for the getting the functionality of this SPA applications like single page applications. So all these functionalities now Microsoft has been given in the Blazor applications. So again, we don't need to go some other kind of third party to be added in our applications like Angular or React to work with Blazor. All these functionality has been already made with these Blazor applications.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So you can ask any questions, not only related to this, you can ask any general questions also. Hope everyone understand that how you feel like today's session. So you can just give some feedback as well.
Yeah, Shanu, we enjoyed a lot, definitely. Thanks for your effort.
Okay. You can ask anything. So it may be career wise or anything like that. Because I was been presently I am working in South Korea. So this is my 15th year in South Korea. So as I told, I started my career in .NET with framework version 1.1. So several years I was been that, and also I was been Microsoft MVP since 2016 to 2021. So
Yeah.
like this, a lot of history over that. So you can feel free to ask any kind of other questions as well. So not related to, if even it need not to be related to Blazor, anything like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, yes,
Hello.
yes.
Hi. This is Mehdi. So I have my question is, when should we use Razor, or when should we choose Angular or React? Is there any particular consideration or
No,
use
no.
cases?
In my point of view, all have different approach and different methodology. But as I told, if you want to create the single page applications, we can go with Angular. We can also go with Blazor, or also we can go with React. So all has that separate methodology to work on. But the finally end of the day, the more thing is to work with the SPA applications. And as I told, all has different functions. The main advantage if you work with Blazor is if we are purely like a Caesar flower, and nowadays the Blazor application is slowly booming. So it will be good to go with the Blazor applications as well. But frankly speaking, for my project, I am using Angular and ASP.NET Core. So it has no difference like that. So it is only depend on our productions and our server and everything like that. So we can choose whatever it need, but we can focus with any one applications to develop our applications.
But
Yeah.
recently we found that React is also doing very good. React community is growing rapidly.
Yes. Now React is doing very good. So as I told, the limit is beyond limit is to us. If you want to go with more UI interactions and more UI functionalities, then I can recommend the React is more better than this Angular and Blazor, because nowadays for more UI interaction and UI functionalities, the Reacts are mostly used one. But another thing is we can also make the same kind of performance working with this Angular and this Blazor as well. But it is based on the developer and the lead, their choice on how we can select the things.
Yeah, maybe I can add one more thing from my practical experience. That if you work on the Blazor, so you have the every control of on the model directly. You can see whether you write the right properties or right model staying in the Blazor view. But if you work in the Angular or React, you can't say in the compile time whether you are writing the proper properties or proper model unless until you get the error from error list.
Okay, okay.